Sunday, it's gonna suck, but we got to deep clean the house. It's like, you're gonna be in Indianapolis. We have guests coming over for the weekend. There's no other time to get this house clean. We got to deep clean it. And we're both like, yep, we'll have fun Saturday night. Went and watched Twisters. It was awesome. And then like Sunday, we're going to suck it up and we're going to clean this house. Top to bottom, like deep. And I'm like, and we both agreed, like, yep, perfect time to do it. So I just can't understand. That's my mindset. Sunday morning, I'm like, all right, I want to get up. I want to have a cup of coffee. I want to watch the British Open. Because the British Open we're in the final round. I want to watch the last 2 hours of the British Open and then get to doing not fun stuff. All right. Wake up. And over the past couple of days before this, my beloved dog Crash, he's been having some stomach problems. Not the throw up kind, if that makes any sense to anyone. So I wake up and Crash is laying in a weird spot. Normally, I wake up, he sleeps in the same spot every night. I look and I'm like, why are you laying there? And poor guy had an accident. Crash is getting old, and he is very, very good about making it outside, but when he had some stomach problems, so now I'm like, all right, this isn't ideal for what was supposed to be my Sunday morning cup of coffee watching golf before wife wakes up and has to clean. But this is the life of a dog owner, right? All the years and precious moments, every once in a while, you got to clean up some poop. It's just going to happen. Sorry to get graphic at 6:07, but and it's not a solid situation, if you know what I mean. Poor guy he's got a stomach bug, as I mentioned. Thankfully, everything is worked out now. We're back to normal. So I see like this mess, and the poor guy's looking at. So get him out. All right, get outside, get out, whatever. And now I got to clean up this mess. We're fine, no big deal. It's not fun, but I have the products and the ability to clean this mess up. So I clean the mess up. He has a bed that he is no longer ever going to sleep in. That's gone. And I feel like after a handful of minutes, I feel like I've got it under control. And so finally I'm like, okay, I'm a little worried about my dog, but feel like I've got it under control. I've got the mess cleaned up. I've scoured the house, and other than a bed that he's never going to sleep in ever again, he kept it on the hardwood, which if anybody who has pets knows, like that's a victory in and of itself. So I've got it all cleaned up, put it away, and I'm like, all right, finally, I'm gonna get my coffee. I'm gonna worry about the dog, but we're gonna worry about that later. Now I'm gonna get to watch some golf. So, Brenden, I take the cleaning products and I go to put them back downstairs in the basement where the cleaning products go. I take a step. I am barefoot. Because I just woken up. And I go to take a step down. There was some of the mess I missed. Some of the mess that I missed. So I went to take a step.
Ooh, no.
Right foot in it. So now I have a choice. Now, okay, so now on top of this, now I've got dog dew on my foot. And I've got a new mess to clean up because now that was the part that I stepped on was not on the hardwood, that was on a rug. Luckily, it is one of those rugs that are meant to be machine washed. That's not the problem. The problem is now my foot.
Yeah.
So now I have a decision to make. What do you do? My decision is I am going to hop on my left leg to the bathroom, and I am going to clean my foot off in the bathtub. Bathtub in the downstairs. So I am hopping left foot, because I'm an athlete, no big deal. I go and I turn on the faucet, and it's not, again, there's poop in my bathtub, but I'm like,
So this was barefoot, though.
barefoot.
Would you have preferred a sock? All considering, I don't know if I would have. Because I'm more of a
question.
sock guy around the house.
It's going to get worse. Hold on. The story is yet. Wait for the climax is good. So now imagine me
Hopping around.
hopping, poop on my foot, and I go and I turn on the faucet. So now I'm in the bathtub and I'm cleaning off my foot, and then I'm also going to have to, and also I'm going to clean the bathroom because it was cleaning day anyways, but now it's really going to get cleaned because there's now poop in the bathroom. Clean it off, clean my foot off, soap, scrub, get it all done. Turn the water off. Go to hit the faucet. Foot's now clean. Brenden, faucet, the part where the water comes out of the bathtub, not the shower head, snaps off.
Oh, Lord. Come on, man.
Snaps off. Now I'm freaking out, figuring, oh, great. I have flooded my house. Thankfully, no. Water valve up above, off. So now water's not actively coming up. So now I have a plumbing thing to. Now I'm like, great. Now Sunday has just. Supposed to be watching golf, having coffee. Now I had poop on my foot. I have ruined. I've soiled a carpet. Well, I didn't. Crash did, and then I made it worse. And now bathtub's broke. Thankfully, Google is, and the internet's not bad for everything. Handful of Google searches. $15 tool at Home Depot. Your boy fixed his bathtub. Had that fixed before Xander Schauffele even raised the claret jug, but let me just tell you that. And I wanted to make sure that Crash was okay before I told this story. Crash is fine. He had a stomach bug. Stomach bug has now thankfully passed. But that was my Sunday morning.
That's nuts, man. I mean, not
my Sunday morning.
That might be the first.
Just wanted to watch golf in Scotland and have a coffee before I clean my house. And I'm at Home Depot before Xander Schauffele's even on the 17th. Oh, boy. Thank goodness for Google searches, YouTube, and Home Depot. And the dog's okay. All right. We're going to talk some Team USA basketball. I'm done with the gross, disgusting dog stories. Just wanted to share that with everyone. Thought everyone would get a chuckle out of it. We have got Team USA. Is there drama? Is there cause for concern? We talk Team USA basketball next. 620 Rip City Radio. Okay, good news. Good news is Team USA basketball 5-0. They have yet to lose a game. So that's the good news, is that Team USA has yet to lose a basketball game. The last 2 basketball games, though, they have won by a point and 4 points. A combined 5 points. Team USA beat South Sudan 101-100. And then a 4-point win yesterday afternoon. Are they in, where are they at? Are they in Abu Dhabi? Isn't that where they're at? Somewhere weird? Or are they in Paris now?
Paris, I believe. I believe they're all there in Paris now. But don't quote me on that.
Okay. But they beat, in pre-Olympic play, beat Germany by 4 points. LeBron James, leading scorer. LeBron James has been the leading scorer. And it looks as though, because usually when you put these Olympic teams together, from the dream team on, the coach has to make one, I think, critical decision. And the coach has to make it, which is, whose team is it going to be? Right? It was easy for Chuck Daly in 1992. It's like, that's Michael Jordan's team. Magic and Larry, you guys are the ambassadors, but this is going to be Michael Jordan's team. And you even go back to the Redeem team, and credit to Mike Krzyzewski, who was like, we got a lot of alphas in this. This is going to be Kobe's team. We need Kobe. Kobe's going to set the tone. And LeBron James has been on three Olympic teams. This will be his third. The first one, we talked about it yesterday. In 2004, did not win the gold medal. And LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade, a lot of young players were kind of told, wait your turn, and didn't play an awful lot. So was not the alpha, was not the showcase, was not the focal point of said Olympic team in 2004. I just mentioned it. Redeem team 4 years later. LeBron's on that team. That's LeBron's prime, right? 2008 is prime LeBron James. But Mike Krzyzewski made the decision that Kobe Bryant and his defense and his attitude and the Mamba mentality and everything else, he's going to walk. And Kobe also decided this, because Kobe walked, like, I don't think Kobe Bryant, even in rooms when Michael Jordan was in, never walked into a room and didn't feel like he was the top dog. That was one of the things that made Kobe special. But in 2008, that was Kobe's Olympic team. You go back and you watch the Redeem Team documentary, anybody that was around then, you knew, like, that's Kobe Bryant's, that's his Olympic team. So now LeBron's on Olympic team number 3, and it feels like this is the LeBron James Olympic team, right? Because most of the time, that's kind of how it works. One guy pushes it forward and is just like, this is going to be, I don't know who it was in Tokyo. Who would you say it was, Brenden, in Tokyo? It was weird because there were no fans there, and we were still in like the weird COVID stuff.
There was some Dame.
But Dame didn't play an awful lot because of the injury. Kevin Durant? Was it kind of Kevin? Am I forgetting this one? They all are kind of squishing together. Either way, it feels like Steve Kerr, and maybe this is just pre-Olympic stuff. Who knows? Maybe once the Olympic Games get here, there's going to be some differences. Yes, Brenden.
Kind of a lot of similar names, but it was Durant led the team with 21 points. Tatum was there. Holiday was there. Zach LaVine also there, having a pretty good Olympics. But, so on. But
that was Kevin Durant's Olympic team. Like, it was clear, like, Team USA was like, all right, Kevin Durant's going to kind of set the tone. He's going to be the guy. He's going to be the man. And
Jeremy Grant is a member of a different team.
That is true. And Dame was going to be kind of that guy, but he having the core injury. That core injury requires surgery. We've talked about that a lot. But this Team USA, remember we talked about it a couple weeks ago with Pounce about, like, Anthony Edwards says he's going to be he's the guy. I'm taking the shots. It's my team. And maybe this is pre-Olympic game stuff. I don't know. is this a precursor to what's going to be coming up at the games? I don't know, but it feels very much like Steve Kerr and Team USA have set this up as a LeBron James. This is his moment. Now, again, I'm fascinated by LeBron James. I'm also irritated by LeBron James. And there has been no player that I can remember that has been as obsessed with legacy more than LeBron James. Now, I'm not saying that's bad. The guy has won multiple titles. He has won multiple MVPs. He's going to go down as one of the greatest of all time. Not the, but one of. It's clearly worked, whatever he's doing. But LeBron James has always made that case of like, man, I'm chasing ghosts out there. He's chasing Jordan's 6 rings. And if you look back at what are the 2 Olympic teams that we remember? Well, the 3. 1, we remember 04 because they didn't win. We remember the Dream Team, and we remember the Redeem Team. What do we remember about the Dream Team? That's the Michael Jordan one. What do we remember about the Redeem Team? That's the Kobe Bryant one. Brenden, who are the 2 players that maybe LeBron has maybe obsessed over his entire career in terms of being compared to?
Jordan and Kobe.
Jordan and Kobe. This is his Olympic moment. This is his time right now.
Do we just need to keep having, like, I thought the whole thing this summer was LeBron's time to play with his kids. So now it's another thing for LeBron. Like, it's like, all right, all hail the king, I suppose.
But this is what he does. And again, it's going to sound like sour grapes, but to me it is a fascinating sociological, psychological study in terms of LeBron has been doing things because I don't believe he's ever going to catch Michael Jordan. And I think in the back of his mind, he believes he's never going to catch Michael Jordan. He's never going to be better than Michael Jordan. Sure, some people ignorantly will say, he's better. Look at his passing. Hey, he's not better than Jordan. He's just not. But what can he do? Well, he can be the all-time leading scorer in the league. That was a very important thing to LeBron James, and credit to him, he got it. You know what else he can do? He can have his kid play on the same team as him, which he essentially held an entire organization and league for that matter, but most importantly, organization hostage to draft his son, who would not have been drafted if his name was Bronny Johnson and not Bronny James. And now he has set up an Olympic team to showcase him, potentially. I don't know that this is just me talking out of my backside. Because you look back at the teams that are always remembered and they have kind of those MVPs. You don't name an MVP, but we all know. We all know it was Jordan in 92, and we all know it was Kobe in 08. So LeBron, who's been on now 3 Olympic teams, but has never been the best player on the Olympic team or has never been the focal point of said Olympic team, I think he wants his Olympic moment, and I think we are seeing it. Is that the best for Team USA? Is having 39-year-old, and even Joel Embiid said, LeBron's no spring chicken. I'm paraphrasing. But is having LeBron James the focal point of Team USA the best way to win the gold medal? Will it matter? In years past, it wouldn't have mattered. Dream Team could have said, look, Michael, it's your league, but Magic, this is going to be Magic's. We're going to focus on Magic Johnson right now. And they still would have won every game by 40 points because the rest of the world hadn't caught up yet. So is he 39? I keep saying that. I want to make sure I'm right. I'm pretty sure he's 39. Is having 39-year-old LeBron James,
he'll be 40 in December,
what is clearly the focal point of Team USA, maybe the best way to win the gold medal? Let's talk it out because I actually don't hate the idea. I really don't. I don't hate the idea. If LeBron is in that mindset of this is my moment, this is my time, this is, again, another check mark where I lead the USA to gold. Not just receive my gold medal, but I lead Team USA to gold. I don't think it's the worst idea. Because in the Olympics, unlike in the NBA, you got to give, 12 20, 22 hard minutes. You've got, like, that's the one thing that Team USA, I believe, has over some of the other top-tier international teams is Team USA's got depth, right? You look at the best, even, I know I've been talking about Team France. Team France has got Wemby, and Team France has got Rudy Gobert. They've got, is Richeche on Team France?
Probably too young, but let me pull up the roster real quick.
It was just the number 1 overall pick. But you look at those European teams, and they've got, sprinkled in starting lineups of NBA players. But then you go onto the bench, and you're like, all right, there's a bunch of guys I've never heard of. Shout
out Nick Batum.
Nick Batum's still on there. Evan Fournier's on there, right? Or did
Evan Fournier's there. Bilal Coulibaly, who went, I think, 10th last year. So, 5 or 6 guys were in NBA rotations.
But this is what Team USA, I believe, has in terms of the advantage of basketball is starting lineup for starting lineup. There are other teams in the world that can, I believe, match Team USA. Nobody's matching the bench depth of Team USA. And that's kind of, in the limited time I've been watching the pre-Olympic stuff, it seems like that's kind of where USA is like, all right, yeah, we're playing, we're close. Hey, watch this bench come in and make a run. So LeBron doesn't have to play 38 minutes. Do you even play 38 minutes in the Olympics? I don't know. He doesn't have to play 38 minutes a night, full on, pedal to the metal, NBA type intensity every night. He's got to play about 20. That's not too bad for a 39-year-old who is in peak physical condition. But also, the good thing is with the Olympics, yeah, every once in a while you're going to have to play France. Every once in a while you're going to have to play Canada, who's going to have a pretty good team. There's going to be a couple nights where, LeBron would need to play 12 minutes tonight. And Anthony Edwards and the boys, the young kids, are going to go win this one. So I don't think it's the worst thing. But, Brendan, it's become clear. And if you don't think that LeBron did not have a voice in this, well, you have not paid attention to basketball. This guy he says he doesn't, but he has got his voice, his influence, his pull, his team. What is it? Undefeated? Is that his thing? Undefeated. You don't think they don't have, and backed by the big old swoosh. You don't think there is some LeBron pull of knowing that, yeah, I'm going to come and I'm going to play in Paris and it's going to be my team. If you don't think LeBron James didn't hint at, insinuate, wink, nudge, you haven't been paying attention because LeBron James just got his podcast host to be the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers and just got his 4 points a game son to be the second-round draft pick. You don't think he's going to go into the Olympics?
Part in the hiring process.
I know, exactly. He lies.
He said he was doing his own thing.
He lies, all right? He's a liar, not in a bad way, but he does. That's why he said he read all them books. He didn't read any of them books.
Or The Godfather, still my favorite King one.
Is that your favorite?
That was going to ride on forever, man. What's your favorite part, LeBron? All of it.
All of it. So many. I mean, it's so long. I mean, it's like, say one.
He is a unique cat, isn't he?
Just say one. Just say take it to the mattresses, man. Has there been a movie or TV show you've lied about watching? I've been pretty open because and I love it because it makes you cringe of I've never seen Avatar. Has there been a movie where you're not lied, but not been particularly open? Everybody's talking about it and you're just and you're like, yeah, I've never seen that.
Yeah, not a movie, Justin. That's how I felt about Game of Thrones until I got in it.
Gotcha.
It was
everybody's talking about
it.
And
I'm I don't get this.
But you just kind of kept it to yourself.
Yeah. I'm this is weird.
What's the most egregious thing you think you've never seen? It's in the pop culture zeitgeist. Probably tough because you watch a ton of stuff, but it's in the pop culture zeitgeist, but you're just yeah, I never saw it.
Shawshank.
That's a good one. Oh my goodness gracious.
I've seen now bits and pieces, but
sure, it's hard not to admit.
But start to finish.
You've never watched Shawshank?
I don't think start to finish.
From the moment we learn about Andy Dufresne and his cheating wife, by the way, she gets off I'm super
familiar with all the sayings and all that stuff. I think I've probably...
like Get Busy Living, Get Busy Dying.
Of course, yeah.
But you don't know exactly the context behind it. These walls, they're funny.
Yeah, but if you're asking me to say...
First you hate them.
Yeah.
Then you get used to them, Brenden. Then you get so you depend on them, right? That's institutionalized.
But, I'm like, if I don't know if I... Yeah, I'm like...
You've never seen Shawshank start to finish?
Couldn't give you the play-by-play start to finish. That's probably my craziest one, but...
That's a good one.
You know me, Justin. I'm super into movies. I just have never been like, yeah, I'm going to sit down and get into it kind of a thing. But I respect it for what it is. #1 rated movie on IMDb, man. People call it the greatest movie ever made. So it's got a case, I'm sure.
It's got to be the most watched.
Yeah?
Non-children's. Because children's movies, right, if you put children's movies in there and like, I don't want to say this because I'm not a parent, but let's just say busy parents who just plop on, hey, do you want to watch Frozen again? Sure. And I'm just, like, kids' movies, those are the most watched, but Shawshank's got to be the most viewed movie of all time.
More than E.T.?
I think so. I still watch Shawshank to this day if it's on. I don't watch E.T. anymore. I'm talking about eyeballs on screen when said movie is on. There's got to be more minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, years of people's lives that have watched Shawshank Redemption. It's the perfect cable movie of like, oh, this is the part where the warden shakes him down, right? Or this is the part where they are working on the roof. May, it's one damn fine month to be working outdoors, right? This is that part. This is the part where they're working on the roof, and Andy's going to get them all beers, and it's like, it's the perfect cable movie.
That's fair. I mean, as far as like perfect cable movies, like, my short, like, again, the original Dark Knight, that's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Confession? I saw Dark Knight in the theater. I've had a hard time rewatching Dark Knight because
that's fair.
The Heath Ledger thing is tough.
No,
it's just tough.
I know.
It's why Fast 7, I think.
Right, with Paul.
Paul
Walker, yeah. No, that makes sense.
At the end, when they're driving off and he drives off into the sunset.
That sad Wiz Khalifa song.
I was going to say Wiz Khalifa song.
Oh my gosh. Like, it's still in my music.
Never thought I would cry at the theater at a Fast and Furious movie, but man, I did.
Like, that song comes up on my shelf. I'm like, Skip, I don't want to be sad today. Like, no, it's a tearjerker.
All right, that being said, I think we all have to prepare that Team USA, this is going to be the LeBron James team. I feel like this is going to be the LeBron James team.
But should it be? Like,
that's what I'm. I don't know.
And that's what I asked.
But I don't think it's really a choice at this point because, Brenden, like we just talked about, LeBron. And hey, I've never had that kind of pull, so he gets to be able to pull it off, pun intended. I've never had that kind of power, but LeBron James does not go into a situation where he is not in charge. He claims he's not in charge. His production company. You ever watch the barbershop thing? He's the one holding court, not Maverick Carter. He's the one. Oh, yeah, that's my favorite saying. He's been involved with coaching decisions since his first run at Cleveland. Picks his own teammates, You don't think he's going to go on the Team USA and be an ambassador? This is a coordinated effort for him to shine at the Olympic level. I hope it works out because I root for Team USA. 4-point win against Germany, though. 4-point win. Non-Olympics, pre-Olympic game, but 4-point win against Germany. All right. We have got our countdown to kickoff and our countdown to Big Ten Media Day as we go on campus next, 620 Rip City Radio. All right, 39 days away from college football's kickoff. More on that in just a moment. But also, when football season, you know what that means. School's right around the corner. Sorry, kids that are listening, but school's right around the corner, and it's important for students to have the tools that they need for a successful school year. And to that end, we have partnered with our good friends at Lazy Boy for the annual Stuff the Bus Supply Drive. Now through August 19th, donate a backpack or 10 miscellaneous school items at any of the 6 local Lazy Boy locations. That's Salem and Eugene, by the way, both count. And you will receive up to 25% off your Lazy Boy purchase. Some exclusions do apply. The Salvation Army will distribute your donations to local families in need. And as always, we thank you for your generosity. More details on the community page of RipCityRadio.com. All right, 39 days away from college football kickoff, 2 days away from our appearance at Big Ten Media Day. Big Ten Media Day gets underway today in Indianapolis, Indiana. We will be broadcasting live from Lucas Oil Stadium coming up on Thursday's show. Very excited. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to await us there in the beautiful Midwestern city of Indianapolis, but I know that it's going to be a college football whirlwind, which makes your boy happy. So, big thanks to our presenting sponsor, Dick Hanna Dealerships. Dick Hanna, Believe in Nice, for sending us to Big Ten Media Day on Thursday. But right now, speaking of the Big Ten, interesting story coming down the pike in the Big Ten world. Let's go on campus. All right, I have now reached the skeptical point of the Netflix documentaries. All right, Netflix is, what was it? Is it Bad Sport or Untold? Untold is what it's called. They also had one called Bad Sport, but this is the Untold. Now, Untold is this new documentary style, which essentially we hear about some of the more infamous, intriguing things in the world of sports, but clearly from one side, because you kind of have to be able to get people to participate. Turns out people have learned that in 2024 and beyond, that if you're going to make them look bad, they're just like, no, I'm just not going to do it. And I'm not going to sign the release, and I'm just not going to be a part of it. So we saw the Malice at the Palace, which was really kind of the first big one. I thought that one was pretty good. Thought it was pretty good. Then we saw, but it was clearly Jermaine O'Neal's side of the story, right? And of all the people in the Malice at the Palace, Jermaine O'Neal kind of got the worst of it, it feels like. But it was clearly Jermaine O'Neal's side of the Malice at the Palace. Then there was the Tim Donaghy story, which now has been the third or fourth time Tim Donaghy has told his story about how he was betting on football while officiating basketball games and then tipping off mobsters. His story has changed every single time. He lies the entire one. And then there was the two that I was most looking forward to, which is Johnny Football and the Florida Gators. And it was like, they were puff pieces. Let's be honest.
They were. I mean,
the Gators, it was the Gators as told. Urban Meyer is basically college football's version of General Patton, and he brought out the best in them. And Johnny Football was just a kid trying to have a good time. And it's like, there was some bad stuff there too. Yeah. So that's why I'm a little bit hesitant to get all too excited about what is now coming down the pike. I believe it is August 27th. Too close to kickoff, by the way. Too close to the college football season. But Sign Stealer. The story, we'll see, of Connor Stallions, the Michigan football, wasn't a coach? Oh, support staff?
Yeah, support staff.
He was a staffer.
His checks came from the University of Michigan.
He was a sign stealer. And it seems like this is going to be the first we're going to hear from Connor Stallions ever. Because obviously nobody knew who he was until the report came out last year. And then once that came out, he went underground. And we didn't know where he was. We didn't know what was going on. And he apparently has now come out of the woodworks. And we're going to hear, Brenden, we're going to hear from Connor Stallions. Here's what I want to know. If we get nothing from this documentary, zip, nilch, nada. There is one thing I want to know. Was that you pretending to be a Central Michigan coach? That's what I want to know. It's the only thing I don't care if they were stealing signs. Happens in sports. I don't care if he was there at games filming, right, on his phone. Don't care. I want to know one thing and one thing only. And if we do not get this addressed, I'm not going to quit watching these, but I'm going to start watching with more anger. Was that you on the Central Michigan sideline?
That's a good question.
Wearing Ray-Bans that looked like they had a camera in them, wearing Chippewa gear head to toe. Was that you? That's all I want to know. Because that's the craziest thing ever. Here's my question, though. If, in fact, we find... Because the one thing about this is not illegal. This is not like what Tim Donaghy was doing, which was betting clearly on basketball, tipping off mobsters. Like, that stuff's illegal. Like, this is a dumb college football rule that's kind of been antiquated, that you can't advance scout. Kind of a dumb, old school, antiquated rule. But what happens if we do find out that Central Michigan, and I always get the name of their coach wrong. He was there at Florida. Is it Mike McCarthy?
No, the Florida Gators head coach?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Billy Napier.
No. The guy at Central Michigan who was
Jim McElwain?
Jim McElwain.
Yeah, sorry. I knew it'd come to me. Thanks for giving me the patience. Jim McElwain. The guy who Oregon was interested
nearly the coach at Oregon.
Yeah.
Nearly the coach at Oregon.
Yeah.
They went with Willie Taggart instead. Who knows if that would have been the right move, the wrong move? Don't know. We'll never know. But he was the head coach at Florida, then spent one season with Michigan, and then got this job at Central Michigan, and Connor Stallions was somehow weirdly on his... What happens if they find out that Jim McElwain let Connor Stallions wear Central Michigan gear and pose as a coach to spy for Jim Harbaugh against Big Ten opponents? Because it was Michigan State, I believe, right?
Yeah, I think it was Michigan. Yeah, it was.
That's the only guy who I think is nervous about this. Jim Harbaugh's in the NFL. He doesn't care. The entire coaching staff at Michigan, they don't care, right? Because it's the new regime. It's under Coach Sherrod Moore. Jim McElwain might want to ask Netflix for an advanced copy, because that's the only thing I want to know. Connor, was that you on the sidelines at Central Michigan? Because if it was, what was Jim McElwain's role in this entire thing? If we don't find that out, I'm going to be really bummed out. There you go. There's On Campus. Coming up next, hour number 2, 620 Rip City Radio. It is 7 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. Justin Myers with you. Team USA takes down Germany 92-88 in pre-Olympic play. That's, of course, ahead of the opening ceremonies. I think, is opening ceremonies on Friday? Team USA goes 5-0 as they get ready to defend their gold medal from Tokyo in the Paris Olympics. TNT is set to match the NBA's offer from Amazon at nearly $1.8 billion per year. The NBA reportedly may reject TNT's matching offer, which means to the lawyers we go. And Packers quarterback Jordan Love is nearing a contract extension, but will not see the field until that bad boy is signed. Coming up, friend of the program, Devon Pouncey, joins us for the full third hour live in studio. But hour number 2 of Rip City Morning starts right now on 620 Rip City Radio. All right, welcome back to Rip City Mornings, everybody. Happy to have you along with us. It's a fantastic Tuesday morning. Coming up 20 minutes from now, we have got Make or Miss. 45 minutes from now, you will all get off my lawn. As I have some grumpy old man thoughts as I prepare to fly to Indianapolis tomorrow night to be part of Big Ten Media Day. Do I want to pre-complain about stuff on planes? We'll see. We'll find out. Don't know. We're going to fly by the seat of our pants. So that's going to be coming up in about 45 minutes. And as I just told you in the update, Devon Pouncey is going to be joining us in 1 hour from now for the entire third hour. He was down in Vegas. He was there at Summer League, saw Donovan Clingan, broke the record for blocks per game in Summer League. Didn't know they kept those records, but apparently they did. The internet's a fascinating place. They can keep all sorts of records. And Donovan Clingan is apparently now, he is the all-time leading blocks per game in Summer League guy. And you know what, Brenden? You can't take that away. But it was actually a very good showing for Donovan Clingan. And get Devon Pouncey's thoughts on that, on Team USA, and some other fun stuff. So that's going to be coming up in hour number 3. I've mentioned multiple times on this show how the NFL over the last 20 years has really established itself in terms of separating it from the other sports as the alpha. We talk about the alpha with Team USA. We talk about the alpha with the Blazers and Summer League. It happens in leagues too. And the best thing, and again, people are going to get upset at me, but I don't care. It's the absolute truth. The best thing to ever happen to the NFL, was put Roger Goodell as their commissioner. He's not perfect. Doesn't do everything that I would like, but Roger Goodell, in terms of taking a league from where he was before he took ownership or took over as commissioner to where that league is now, nobody's been better. Closest one was David Stern. When David Stern took over the NBA was a mess. Now, David Stern also got Michael Jordan. He also got Michael Jordan for a decade or so, which helped out. But in terms of where the NFL was when Roger Goodell took over to where the NFL is now has been a meteoric rise in terms of value, viewership, popularity, eyeballs, Q ratings, all that stuff. The NFL offseason was, I remember, that's how old I am. Brenden, I remember when they started the NFL Network. I remember they started the NFL Network. You know what we did when they started the NFL Network and they got Rich Eisen, who, by the way, follows this show, and they got Rich Eisen away from ESPN. SportsCenter was the king. And they were like, we're going to do an NFL Network. You know what we did? We laughed and laughed and laughed. We're going to talk about the NFL all day, every day. You can't do that. Boy, what are they going to do? Turns out you can. Roger Goodell, by the way, on the forefront of the NFL Network. They were the first to do it. And then guess what followed suit? Oh, MLB Network, NBA TV. And turns out these leagues are like, we can talk about our sport all the time. Yeah, but it's not topical. Don't care. What are we going to do during the top 50 list? Sure. Make it 100. But I remember when the NFL Network came out and they were like, not they, me, everybody else in media, like, this is hilarious. Kind of like when CNN came out, like, what, they're just going to do news the whole time? Like, yeah, we're going to do news the whole time.
You might have been old enough, Justin, to be in this too. I'm curious.
Probably
like one
was.
of
Very old.
one of the great stories that I heard growing up was like when my dad or grandpa was like, when they launched ESPN, people didn't think it would work. They're like, sports on TV all the time.
All the time.
Like I just remember him being, them just being so like, they're like, yeah, there was no. People thought it was crazy to be dedicated to sports all the time. And now we have what? ESPN 1, 2, U.
So fun fact, my birthday is September 6th. It's coming up, by the way. Just in case you're wondering.
Yeah, I got you.
Just, guy that you hang out with every single day. But my birthday is on September 6th.
Yeah.
September 7th, the day after I was born, actual exact day, back in 1979, ESPN launched. So
hey,
I am exactly
cool.
1 day older than ESPN.
Nice. I like that, man. Hey,
But,
it's still alive and kicking, man. You too. Keep it up.
November 4th, 2003. I just looked it up. Is when the NFL Network was founded. So we're on a good 20-some years of the NFL Network. Why do I bring up the NFL Network? They were the first. They're the first the NFL Network. And then remember the draft? And Roger Goodell was like, let's make the draft 3 days. Like, great. And then the NFL was the first of the leagues to embrace gambling, right? Fantasy football, which is a form of gambling. It's not hardcore gambling, but it's a form of gambling. All the other leagues were afraid of gambling, scared of gambling. The NFL, yeah. Not only are we going to do fantasy football or endorse fantasy football, we're going to put it on our own website, NFL.com, fantasy football. Roger Goodell hasn't been perfect. That Tom Brady Deflategate thing was pretty embarrassing. And some inconsistencies with some of the suspensions in terms of, is this thing really the same as that thing? Not been perfect. But in terms of what he has done for the league, look at the way that the NFL handled COVID. Looking back now, maybe the best. Now, they also had some time to figure some things out, but looking back with clear eyes, maybe. So why am I bringing all this up? Justin, why are you talking about the NFL again? Well, because here's why. The NFL as a league under Roger Goodell has never hesitated, other than when that whole concussion thing happened. Again, not perfect Goodell, but the concussion, that one's going to stick with you. But in terms of, we need to make this league better, how can we fix it? We called the league soft every time they make these adjustments for hitting quarterbacks. But you know what is better for the league? Having Patrick Mahomes standing upright throwing passes. It's better for the league. Roger Goodell and the league have figured out, you know what? Offense and touchdowns. Not complete Big 12 in its heyday, zero defense, but, offense and touchdowns seems to. Let's cater to the rules so that we can see not only offense and touchdowns, but we can see guys throw the football down the field. And it's not just a complete car wreck in the middle of the field. The old school guys like, oh, boy, you didn't come over the middle on me. Well, it's like, did the fans really like that? And so, to the NFL's credit, they have never hesitated to change the game. Sure, MLB installed a pitch clock this last season, one of the biggest changes that MLB has ever done, and made bigger bases. But you look at the 100-plus years of Major League Baseball, not a lot of changes. Yeah,
right.
Interleague play, sure. The DH, yeah, big deal. Pitch clock is huge, but it took a long time.
It took a long, again.
So long. The DH was in the American League for, 30 years?
Well,
before National League was like, we should do that too. Whereas the NFL, something happens a year later, it's fixed. Tom Brady tears his ACL, getting hit by a defensive lineman below the waist. Guess what? Next year, you can't do that anymore.
It's true.
You can't do that anymore. And so you go back to what they did just a couple years ago. They were like, what do we think? Less preseason, more regular season? Done. 3 preseason games, 17-game regular season. Players Association, you guys good with that? Good, because we're doing it. Could you imagine if the NBA ever tried to change the schedule? How long? The NBA needs to shorten its season. It does. Sorry to say it, it does. Guys don't want to play. They want to play 60-some games. Schedule should be 60-some games. Major League Baseball, probably 162 doesn't need to happen. Needs to shorten the season. You just do. Should be weekend series. Need to shorten the season. But the record books, the revenue, all that stuff, the NFL has never once worried about. It's gone from 14 to 16 to 17 a couple of years ago. And now, according to the Washington Post, NFL and NFL Players Association have begun a high-level discussion about a potential 18-game season. And that is according to NFLPA's executive director, that's the Players Association, Lloyd Howe. He's told the Washington Post. You knew when they went to 17 games, they were going to 18 games. It was a road that was inevitable. How many times have we heard over and over again about how tough it would be to 82 games in the NBA? It's too many. Guys are resting, and we could sit here and talk about how is this generation soft? They're getting paid enough. They should be showing up every day. I agree with all that, but you know what? Deal with reality on reality's terms. And reality says these guys want to play about 60 games. They want to play about 60. But the NBA, because they've got, what is it? An 11 billion or 77. What's the $1 billion number they're at? 11 seasons, 70 some.
Yeah, it's like 78, I think. Just an insane amount of money.
That's for an 82 game schedule. Can't change it.
Right.
Can't change it. Can't bring it back. NFL, yeah, we're going 18 games. Ultimately, we're going 18 games. And that's why the NFL continues to be the best of all the pro leagues, because they don't. Yeah, there are logistics and everything else, but you know what? Logistics have never held them back. They change rules, they change schedules, they move stuff around. How's it going to make it better and do it fast right now? Can't do it in Major League Baseball, can't do it in the NBA. 18-game schedule, by the way, is coming down the pike. You know what else is coming down the pike? Ticket Tuesday. That's right. Rip City Radio keeps the Ticket Tuesday winning streak alive. Exclusive tickets to the Hillsboro Hops all season long. So listen to Rip City Drive every Tuesday. Is that today? Yeah, it is. This afternoon, for your chance to win, get your Hops tickets now at hillsborohops.com. Make or miss is next. 620 Rip City Radio. that Joe Diffie song still hits. It just does. All right. Coming up in less than an hour, Devon Pouncey is going to join us in the third hour. Live in studio, he was down in Las Vegas. Took over for, I saw the RipCityRemix social media accounts, so he was there. Boots on the ground for Summer League, so we'll get his thoughts on Donovan Klingen's performance. We'll get his thoughts on Team USA, and whatever silliness we get into. Very excited about the third hour. Right now, though. Oh, wait, I got to do this real quick. Before we get to Make or Miss, hold that thought. I want to tell everybody about Pup City, baby. That's right. The Trailblazers want to invite you to Pup City, presented by Tavo. It's a 1.4-kilometer walk-around motor center for Rip City fans and their dogs to get together this offseason. Check out both dog and human-friendly vendors like Stumptown Coffee, Portland Pet Foods, Blue Star Donuts, and so much more. Each ticket purchase receives entry. Pup City swag, ticket to an early season Blazer game, and a donation to the nonprofit partner One Tail at a Time. Complete details at ripcityradio.com. Rumors circulating, Brenden. Rumors circulating that Chad Doing and Puppy Shots might make an appearance at the Pup City Walk.
Yeah, if I didn't do a big dog thing at a sporting event with my dog this summer, I feel like I got that fixed for a little while.
I would take Crash down there. I don't think he would make the walk around moto. I think he would quit halfway.
He'd protest.
Yeah.
He'd protest the walk. Yeah, my dog wouldn't mind the walk, but man, yeah, she was a little, like when we went to the Mariner game, like I've never seen somebody just overstimulated kind of a thing, just so many dogs in one place. I'm like, yeah, I did that. But yeah, it should be a good time, man. And you get a ticket to a Blazer game? That's awesome.
Yeah, Pup City. There you go.
I'd pick a good opponent, though.
Head to Rip City Radio. I don't think you picked the opponent. I think they do.
They don't give you a couple options.
It's
Here's
free.
Your choice of the Rockets, the Thunder, and somebody else.
So that's going to be going on. Excited about Pup City. So, what are we doing now? Oh, yeah, Make or Miss. Here we go. Fire it up. By the way, that was a dynamite intro I just did there.
Hey, man, never a dull moment.
It's hard to explain. Like, we set up this show and we do it as a routine. One, because I think most people are in their routines as they go to work and do that in the morning, and we like to be a routine-based show. Also, it helps us. By us, I mean me, because I'm a routine psycho. But every once in a while, I do kind of forget what hour it is. Every once in a while, I just kind of forget. Can't forget what hour it is.
Yeah, we get rolling sometimes. It's a little easy to lose track of time.
But it is time for Make or Miss. Have not lost track of that. What do we got?
Let's go ahead and start here, Justin. Connor Stallions is Michael Scott when the turntables have turned.
I am cautiously optimistic about this Netflix documentary. You know this because we talked about it on the show. I'm fascinated by this story. I am. I am fascinated by this story. It brings so much into it. Things in college football that I love. And the secret sauce that college football has over every other sport that is not the NFL, it has passion. And passion can sometimes lead its way to obsession. We've seen, right? We've all seen these people in our lives who are like, hey, I'm passionate about golf, to where it becomes their obsession. I am passionate about physical fitness and working out. It has not become my obsession. Some may say I'm lying about that, but I have met people. Brendan, you are passionate about video games. You are passionate about College Football 25, but I'm sure you have seen people online that have led to obsession of said video game or the video game life. I remember.
I have crushed honestly, Justin, I've told you this. I'm crushing my hours now before fall camp starts next week, and I'm busy for the next month. I'm not going to lie to you, Justin. I played a lot of football 25.
I 100% believe it.
A lot.
But you aren't to the point where you're missing the show here for that.
Money's got to keep coming in somehow.
I knew kids when. Okay, again, another story of how old Justin is.
Only as old as you say you are.
GoldenEye. I believe the 007 GoldenEye, which I believe is the first-person shooter. right? Because that's a whole thing, right? FPS, isn't that what they call them? I'm not a gamer.
I was going to tell you, actually, because that's what I thought. That was like your quote-unquote game that you really liked, right?
No. Street Fighter 2.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I was done with video games by high school. That came out my freshman year of college. Brenden, I know guys that would never go to class because they're obsessed with and played all night, GoldenEye.
Interesting.
All they played.
They just made that game backwards compatible, which means you can play it on the newest console. And I saw it and I was like, oh, I wonder if Justin ever played GoldenEye. So interestingly enough,
I did not.
But Street Fighter 2.
I knew so many people that did. I knew so many guys that just lived their life to go play GoldenEye. And they would skip class and they would be up all night playing GoldenEye. It wasn't even a very good movie. It was a good video game, though. But seriously, passion turned to obsession. College football has the passion. It makes up for and covers up for a lot of warts in the entire college football world, as we have seen throughout this summer and summers past. But that passion can sometimes cross over into obsession. I believe that's what happened with Connor Stalions. Connor Stalions loved Michigan football. Loved Michigan football so much that he wrote a manifesto. When you start writing manifestos, it's time to maybe talk to somebody. I'm strong. If anybody out there in our listening audience is maybe written the first draft of a manifesto, first off, thanks for listening. But two, go talk to somebody. But he wrote a manifesto. He wrote a mission statement. He had a whole 45 days, 45-point plan, right? You mentioned Michael Scott. He wrote a whole thing on how to make Michigan football at the elite level, and then went up. Like, that is taking passion and love for a university, a program, and a team. I love Oregon football. I've been an Oregon football fan my whole life. If Oregon ever wins the national title, I don't know how I am going to react. Probably won't cry, but who knows? It's been since I was a child, my favorite team. Oregon football was my first favorite team. But that passion can't turn into obsession. And that's what this story is. And that's why I have been, speaking of obsessions, why I've kind of been obsessed with this story is you have a guy who seemingly, in Connor Stalions, had I don't even believe he went to Michigan, which there's nothing wrong with being a fan of a school you didn't go to. Sometimes that school doesn't have baseball teams. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you're junior college good. But I don't even think he went to Michigan. He was in the military, but grew up. He was a huge Michigan fan, and his entire post-military life's work is to help Jim Harbaugh and Michigan, and then essentially became a fall guy. Like, that is a love and devotion for something that, quite frankly, does not love you back that I've never seen before. You know what I mean? It's like, those NFL super fans, you see like the Sea-Hulk.
The Raiders people, yeah.
The Raider gorilla.
Yeah.
They, and I don't know this, but I would imagine, they firmly believe team needs me. Team needs me. Team doesn't need you. Team needs practice. Team needs physical fitness. Team needs good coaching. Team doesn't need you in your seat in the end zone. But they believe that passion turned to obsession. Connor Stalions took it to a step further where it's like, team needs me. And then once they did not need you anymore, once you became replaceable, once you became a liability, they kicked him to the curb, which is, I think, a good cautionary tale for anybody that maybe has their passion turned to obsession. But I'm fascinated. Like, does Connor Stalions still love Michigan football? They kicked him to the curb. They threw him under the bus.
That's a good question.
They used him until they couldn't use him anymore, and then all of a sudden they were like, yeah, you need to lay low, big guy. That whole thing, that's why I was so into it, because I love the passion of college football. And then when you see that passion turn to obsession, it is a fascinating human dynamic, shall we say. And I'm intrigued. But I want to know one thing. I mentioned this about 45 minutes ago. I want to know one thing. Who was that guy wearing those sunglasses at that night game at Central Michigan? Does it really look like you? I want to know who that was. I want to know if it was him, and I want to know who ordered the code red. Who ordered Connor Stallions to go to Central? Did he did it on his own? Was is he a rogue actor?
How did if he just came out and it's like, yeah, it was all Jim. Can you imagine like if he just comes out and just goes, it was all Harbaugh. Yep, Jim was cool with it. Like just what if he just like I said, just Michael Scott walking in being like, all right, I'll take a situation and I'll raise you a situation and just be like, by the way, Jim Harbaugh, who's not here anymore, yeah, he knew all about me. We were tired. Like maybe not even say he did it, but when he goes, they'll show like the clip of Jim Harbaugh saying, I don't know, and then he'll go, yeah, no, that's not true. I talked to Coach Harbaugh many times, right? So I think it'll be very telling. It's not going to be a Michigan puff piece.
No way. How did he get to the sideline of Central Michigan is what I want to know. Most importantly, because a couple of things. Let's talk about this real quick. I don't want to relitigate this, but you know what? Guys, it's July, and this thing just popped in. For those that don't, you might be saying, Justin, you go to the store, you know what the coaches, you put a pair of khakis on, you get a team-issued, like I could, if I wanted to, I could go to the Duck store right now, or I could go on Nike's website right now. Brendan and I could go head to toe and dress like any of the coaches at the University of Oregon. I could. It'd be much easier at a place like Central Michigan where, unlike at Oregon, they don't have, coordinated Nike coaches gear for every game. But at Central Michigan, you could go to the bookstore. You could buy a hat, a polo, put on some khakis. But you've been on a sideline before. I've been on a sideline before. You know who patrols those sidelines? Self-righteous, windbreaker-wearing people who are checking credentials left and right.
I don't know what's worse.
I think if you are dressed up like a coach and you're on the sideline, somebody's going to be like, "Who are you?" Unless everybody knew who you already were.
Yeah, that's a.
Nick Saban just got his credential checked at the SEC Media Days. Sir, need your credential.
Yeah,
and Nick Saban's like, greatest coach of all time. Don't care. Need a credential.
That would have ticked me off. He had a really good attitude about it, and I get it, but when you're, and I'll say that, like, when you're a college football god, which is pretty much what Nick Saban is, you kind of get the rules broken for you.
Can I tell you a fun credential story real quick? Do we have time? I was in 2017, I was covering the Final Four for a former employer. And Oregon basketball, as you know, in 2017 was in the Final Four. So I was at Final Four Radio Row, and the Radio Row was in this area that was also a basketball coaches clinic. So to get into said clinic, you had to have either a ticket or a credential. But there was all of these current and former, if you were a college basketball fan, this was college basketball nerd heaven. Bob Huggins was there. Jim Herrick was there, former UCLA coach. Who was the guy? Bo Ryan. He was the guy at Wisconsin. Bo Ryan was there. And I saw, as I was walking in, and I had my credential, Gene Cady. Gene Cady, he's in the Hall of Fame. He's a legendary coach at Purdue. He's wearing a Purdue hat that said Coach Cady on the side of it. He was also in his elder years. I don't think Coach Cady's with us anymore. And some windbreaker guy asked him for his credential. And as I'm walking by, I turn and I go, "That's Gene Cady. He's a Hall of Famer. Let him in." And then I just kept walking. Don't know if he ever did, but yeah, I saw windbreaker guy stop Gene Cady at the Final Four. Do you imagine being like, I've got like 600 college basketball wins. I don't need a credential. I have 7 championships. I'm Nick Saban. You're going to let me on the 4th floor at the Dallas Omni.
game days, I've had an up and down experience, getting credentials at Oregon State throughout the last 10 years or so, Justin. It's like ironic because the red jacket people are the same red jacket people when I was 18 years old. Maybe they sub in one or two few new faces, but it's like, oh yeah, I've seen your face for quite some time now, kind of a deal. And for what it's worth, every now and again, Justin and I have talked about this in such a broader sense, and those of you listening at home probably know someone like this or have experienced someone like this. It's like you give someone a little bit of power, and I've been told, hey, your credentials on backwards, flip it around. I'm like, it's a piece of paper.
It's a piece of cardboard on a elastic string.
Yeah, blowing in the wind. And I'm like, okay. Or just most schools now obviously, Justin, run semi-closed or closed practices, right? So, there are times when, I've been going to Oregon State practice for 10 years, and I walk in, they're like, who are you with? And I'm like, Year's Edge, only my 10th year covering the program. But you know what I mean? It's just, it's that part of it. It's like, I think, or whether it's the person who is telling you, stay in line, and, I know people who get that little bit of power and can use it and let it go to their head, man.
It's the same people that have complex coffee orders at Starbucks. Yes. It's the same people that treat servers terribly.
Or have a I heard the other day someone's sitting there having a full conversation with. I was at lunch and server next to me is helping a couple, and they're like, "Sheik, what can I get you to drink?" And he goes, "Well, we're not sure yet. But how's your day? Here's what we did." And just proceeded to have this whole conversation. And I'm like, she's got more tables to get to.
Yeah, she's working.
I know.
Not your buddy for the next 45 minutes.
It was. All right, let's get to one more to close it out. This will be fun, Justin.
I could talk about Connor Stallions for 4 hours.
I could.
But
we could talk about this too. The Claret Jug is the best trophy to drink booze from.
Miss.
I think it tops the Stanley Cup. Why?
Because Stanley Cup's just Stanley Cup. I don't know. I think it's better.
That's fair. No,
those are the two, though, because the Larry O'Brien Trophy,
you can't drink
anything.
Yeah.
It's not a cup. Obviously, the Lombardi and is it the Commissioner's Trophy?
All the
Major
flags.
League Baseball?
Yeah.
World Series Trophy, whatever it is. I think it's called the Commissioner's Trophy. I could have it wrong. That was always my favorite as a kid. I always loved that one because it had all the flags.
Commissioner's Trophy.
Commissioner's Trophy.
Good
so
for you, Justin.
There are only so many you can drink something out of, and the Claret Jug is one. The Stanley Cup is the other. What else? I think those might be the only two where you can traditionally drink out of. I know the U.S. Open trophy you can because the top comes off. I know that because I held it. But it's got a top on it. So it's not the same.
You've held?
I've held the U.S. Open trophy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Not the Stanley Cup.
I thought you meant the Claret Jug. And
not the Claret Jug.
I'm like, you went to
England?
Nope,
I'm American.
Scotland? You went to Scotland, bro?
But
classic.
That being said, I still think it's a Stanley Cup.
I saw something
about just that big old Stanley Cup and oversized.
It's definitely interesting because I saw this story from Xander Schauffele yesterday, and the quick Cliff Notes version is that he was just like, yeah, I saw it. It's perfectly pint-sized. It's really easy just to...
As opposed to where you got to have help with the Stanley Cup. Maybe you're right. I don't know. I still think it's cooler than Stanley Cup. The Claret Jug's awesome, though. It is an awesome trophy. All right, coming up next, you will all get off my lawn as we wrap up hour number 2 of 620 Rip City Radio. All right, let's wrap up hour number 2. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning. Weather's supposed to be gorgeous all week long. Not too hot, not too cold. Got a little bite in the air this morning.
It did. It feels like we're, approaching fall.
Yeah, but this happens, and then guess what? Mother Nature is like, I got another heat wave for you.
Yeah, we'll get some August heat. We always do. But me, Justin, I don't complain about sunny weather whatsoever.
It's a beautiful day. It's going to be a beautiful week. And normally it would be tough. It'd be tough to be in a bad look. We're weeks away from college football. We're going to the Big Ten Media Day. How could I be? I was just in Hawaii last week. How could I be? Well, I could find a way because Tuesday's still the grumpiest day of the week, especially for some of you. And I know there may be some negativity building up in some of the listeners out there. So I'm going to be your conduit. I'm going to be your portal. I shall get maybe some of the negativity out. And we do that each and every Tuesday on this segment we like to call Get Off My Lawn. All right, I am ready to add another culprit. So, as I mentioned, I flew across the Pacific Ocean a week ago, back from the little Hawaiian vacation that I was on. I shall be flying to Indianapolis tomorrow night. I'm going to be spending more, and I'm going to be another flight coming up in 2 weeks. I'm going to be spending more time in the last 3-4 weeks at an airport than I have spent all year long. And airports they get me. They just get something about once you get past TSA that everybody feels like, okay, I can just act a fool now. I have cleared security. Now I have carte blanche to just not act like a regular member of society because I walk through the thing where you hold your hands up and they go and we all know who we're talking about. We're talking about gate hoverers. We all know the gate hoverers, right? Like, dude, you're boarding group 5. We're on the needing special assistance right now. It's going to be a while. Go take a seat. People who take it back, stand on the moving trams. You know what I'm talking about? Brenden, you know the moving trams in the airport where it's flat, but it moves like an escalator?
Yes.
Those are designed for you to walk on because you have to get to a connecting flight. If you don't have a connecting flight, or if you're going to stand your lazy behind on there, you don't belong there. Get off of there and walk.
I saw someone when I was, and this is... Yeah, when I went to Hawaii recently, Justin, I saw someone having a phone call walking back and forth on it. Like, he would be like, walk down a little bit way, then he'd be like, just...
No, those are for people who are trying to make connections and trying to get to the tram, or as they call it in Hawaii, the wiki, which is the coolest name ever.
I got a lot of cool names, man.
Those people... But I think I might have another one. Also, I haven't even talked about people on a plane. And by the way, dude in front of my wife who decided you were going to, on a 5+ hour flight, lean your seat all the way back. Where are you on the seat leaning back?
I think we've talked about this. So, like, Alaska flights, that's what I've flown. It goes back, like, probably 2-3 inches.
Okay, the Hawaiian Airlines that I was on.
Did it go? Like, what an Alaska flight is?
I was looking, and I'm like, that is a significant recline.
I have not. I don't think I've ever flown Hawaiian. Actually, maybe a little.
She might get mad that I'm going to say this, but so it was like Kelly's sitting on the aisle, and it's the 2-4-2 flight.
Okay,
plane.
Yeah.
Big boy.
That's much bigger than the one I took over there. Okay.
So. And whenever that happens, Kelly and I are like, let's just get the 2. It's just her and I.
Exactly.
Right?
Do the same thing.
So, sitting there, guy in front, leans all the way back. And she's just like, what are we doing?
Were you, I don't mean to pry, but was this like first class or just
No.
Regular old
normal spot. Guy in front, reclines back. First class, I've been, no big deal. You can recline back the first class and it doesn't bother the people behind because there's space. It's first class. In a normal spot, you lean back. You are affecting the person behind you. You just are. I know you can do it. Doesn't mean you should do it.
So I just stay consistent. Like before we I'll say this before. Hopefully they won't come after me. I've definitely leaned it back before they say lean back your seats. But then Well, but
how dare you?
And then
your sister is a flight attendant.
Well,
does she know?
She told me.
Does she know you do this?
Well, she told me to unplug my equipment and turn my phone in airplane mode too. But all that to say,
you realize the reason why you're not supposed to have your stuff plugged in is because if there's a problem on the takeoff and to get to the exit, people are going to trip over your computer cord, right? You might be causing. That's the only reason why they do it.
I mean, I'm like, I think there are other things.
It's not to save you from the crash itself. It's to save you from the evacuation because people are going to be tripping over your computer cord.
I don't think.
Saying.
No, it's fair. I wouldn't be worried about an evacuation if I was in an airplane. I think we're probably going down.
I will say, though, about half the time I fall asleep and forget to turn my phone off.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely important, but like how they say, like I've seen people not put their phone on airplane mode the entire plane. It's like, oh yeah, the plane was fine. So I don't know the exact deets of all that.
I've done that before.
But yeah, Justin,
I've fallen asleep though.
Like when I went to Hawaii, and that was 5.5, 6 on an Alaska flight. It leans back probably about that much.
What people on the radio aren't understanding is that's about 4 inches.
Yeah, give or take. And I throw it back, and then I don't bring it up until they tell me to. So that may be a bad person, but Justin, I need those extra couple inches, man.
What about the person behind you, though?
They could just recline too, right?
No.
Can't it just be like a cascading effect?
I don't.
Especially on a long 6-hour flight, man. You got to be able to recline.
I don't recline. I am a non-recline
You're a champion
guy.
among men, Justin.
So, and again, I'm going to tell this because Kelly.
You're a good person,
I don't
man.
think she's going to get me. But Guy reclined, and it's significant. And she's going to get out and can't even really get out. That's how much it reclined.
Okay, yes.
And I turned her and I go, forearm shiver it. I go, let him, because the guy was asleep.
What would upset you more? Guy who reclines, and I actually had the latter of this, or crying baby next to you. I had that for 6 hours.
Okay,
on the way
you know
home.
what? You're going to think I'm crazy. Reclining guy would make me more upset.
Really?
Crying baby is nobody's fault. Babies cry. It happens. It's unfortunate that people got to get home too. I have become much more patient in my older years, even though I don't have children, with the crying babies. You've got headphones. Most of them are noise canceling. You're not trying to read a magazine. You're trying to watch a movie. Now, if mom or dad don't do anything and just sit there while baby cries.
Parents of the year, man.
But they don't want. They know.
As someone who grew up with
guy who reclines chair can help it.
I totally know what you mean. I mean, you can kind of tell.
So I told her I could forearm shiver it.
You can kind of tell if a parent is putting in effort, Justin. This parent gave up first 5 minutes of the flight, and it's just like
they know.
So what, people? It's crying, and I'm like, if I can hear you through my noise canceling headphones, that's a problem.
But it's not like babies cry on planes. This is what they do. It's so unfortunate, but that's what happens. Guy reclining. I didn't even get to.
He can help it, I guess.
Guy at the airport watching videos on full volume, which was really my biggest thing. But we got too big on the forearm shiver into the reclining guy. But anyways, that's good. Get off my lawn, airport people. Quit acting a fool. Devon Pouncey, friend of the program, joins us next. 620 Rip City Radio. It is 8 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. Justin Myers with you. Team USA takes down Germany 92-88 ahead of opening ceremonies. Team USA now 5-0 in pre-Olympic play. Opening ceremony set for Friday, and Team USA looks to bring home the gold in Paris. TNT is set to match the NBA rights, broadcasting rights offer from Amazon at nearly $1.8 billion a year. The NBA, though, may be rejecting their matching offer, which means there is going to be lawsuits on the way. And the Packers quarterback, Jordan Love, is nearing a contract extension, but will not see the field at training camp until that contract is signed. It is hour 3 on a Tuesday, which means our good friend Devon Pouncey joins us live in the studio for the next hour. And it starts right now on 620 Rip City Radio. Hey, welcome back to Rip City Mornings, everybody. Very excited, as I just told you in the update. Our good friend, Devon Pouncey, back on the big show. Pounce, what's up, bud?
Glad to be back, man. It feels like it's been a little while. You've been on vacation. I've been, moving and grooving, shaking and baking. So, I'm glad to be back here, man. Glad
good
to be
have
back.
You back, Pounce.
Good to see you, man. Good to see you.
All right, so you were in Vegas. You were there at Summer League, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday, also talked about it a little bit last week. I think for the Blazers, a different set of expectations heading into Summer League this year, whereas you go back the previous two Summer Leagues with Shaden and with Scoot. Obviously, Shaden was coming in off of a tanking year, but that was also the year that Dame was hurt. And I think a lot of Blazer fans felt, all right, let's get this draft pick right. Let's get Dame healthy. Get back to the playoffs.
Right.
And there were some expectations, probably unrealistic, around Shaden Sharp that year 2 years ago. He would ultimately hurt his shoulder 5 minutes in.
Yeah.
And didn't play an awful lot during Summer League, so we would have to wait. And then, of course, last year with Scoot, I think played the first half against the Spurs and kind of got shut down as well. But Dame at that point had requested a trade, but it hadn't been finalized, and there was still talk, like maybe Dame will see Scoot play in Summer League and change his mind. This year, Dame's not on the roster. This team is, for all realistic purposes, not competing for the playoffs, competing to get better, but not competing for the playoffs. And with a first-round pick in Donovan Clingan, Pounce, a guy that I don't think fans are looking to come in and kind of be a savior, like they did with Scoot, like they did with Shaden. So I think there was some different expectations heading into Summer League with Donovan Clingan. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, to be fair to Donovan Clingan, he did exactly what I do think fans did expect him to do, was to be a defender, be a rim protector, take up space down there and rebound the basketball. He averaged 12 rebounds and 4 blocks. Can't ask for too much more from a guy that that's kind of what his specialty is coming in. And I think, he had a great showing, ended up being second team, all Summer League second team. How about that? And so I do agree with you that I don't think he has like this heroic aspect to him where folks are expecting him to come in and be a savior and change everything from last season to this season. But I do believe that fans came away happy because what you expected him to come in and do, he came in right away and did it, rebounding the basketball and being a rim protector ultimately.
I mean, kind of sticking with that same theme, I think for the first time in a while, because when you look at again, first-round picks of the Blazers, and I am a firm believer, even though I don't buy into the whole, free agents don't want to come to Portland, it's too far away, taxes, it's like, you know what? Atlanta doesn't have any taxes. There's a lot of nightlife in Atlanta, and they stink. Nobody wants to play for the Hawks. So people went to play for Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
But I still believe, unless you are the Lakers, the Celtics, and the Heat, handful of other teams, but mostly those teams, you have to win in the draft.
Yeah.
You got to win in the draft. And you look at the way the Blazers, especially in the first round, and you got to hit with your first round draft pick. And you look at the Blazers the last couple, 5 or 6 years, even with guys like Anthony Simons, even with guys like Nasir Little, and Ant obviously turned out to be a more than capable NBA player.
For sure.
But they were drafting in the 20s. And in the 20s, I feel like it's kind of you can't really draft for need in the 20s. You got to be like, this guy's the best guy available.
Yeah.
We got to get him on the roster. Maybe it'll work. And then, as I mentioned, Shaedon and Scoot were kind of drafted with an idea that, okay, could this be the move that puts the Blazers back in the playoffs? This is the first time the Blazers really kind of drafted for need, right?
Yeah.
The Blazers didn't need, when they drafted Shaedon, they didn't need a player like him. Nice to have him now.
For sure.
Didn't need him. When they drafted Scoot, clearly did not need him. Dame was still on the roster.
Yeah.
Didn't need him, but again, couldn't pass up that. This seems to be the first time in a long, long time where they needed rim protection.
For sure.
They need rebounding. They need somebody that can defend. They were second worst in the league at defending shots inside the restricted area. And they drafted for need, and they got their need.
Yeah,
Which is
definitely.
Kind of refreshing.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, when you consider, first off, DeAndre Ayton and the way that he played in the second half of the season, more in particular, really showing his offensive capabilities. You need something to kind of offset that in the front court. And obviously, with the injury to Robert Williams, you didn't have him for majority of the season. Now you bring in a Donovan Clingan who does offset a lot of what DeAndre Ayton does offensively, and of course he rebounds the basketball. But as far as him being a rim protector, you also need DeAndre Ayton on the floor because of what he brings to you offensively. Sometimes that could be hard to navigate when, teams are able to kind of get downhill and apply pressure as much as most were able to do. And then you look at sort of what the Blazers went away from. They went and they signed a new two-way player and Bryce McGowan's, who I really like, really good player. It was really good and fun watching him. But you had, Ibu Baji, who had been a two-way guy who rim protection is essentially what you wanted from a guy like him. And they kind of went in a different direction. And I think a part of the reason they were able to go a different direction is because you drafted Donovan Clingan.
Yeah.
And so, I do agree with you that there was a need there for them to be able to have more size on the interior and be able to clog things up specifically on the defensive side of the ball. And again, for what it's worth, Donovan Clingan did just that in NBA Summer League, and he's a big boy down there. I got to see up close and personal. So he's certainly taking care of the need, at least through Summer League.
Yeah.
Of course, things will go up a notch once camp comes around, and of course when the season comes around. But during Summer League, it was impressive that he was able to come right in and live up to the expectations without having to overextend himself or play beyond himself.
I mean, I do think it's important to not overreact to Summer League because, like you said, this is not a lot of these guys are going to be on NBA rosters. A lot of these guys are fighting for G League spots.
Yeah.
Still very good basketball
Yes,
players
it
in the
is.
scheme of things. But it's also important not to underreact to it. The fact of the matter is you drafted this guy to be a rim protector. He almost had 5 blocks a game.
Yeah.
Right? It was about 4.6, I think 4.7.
Somewhere around there. Yeah.
So at least 4 blocks per game.
12 rebounds, 12 plus.
Grabbing boards, was a presence. And again, I think it was Keith Smith, who covers the NBA. We have him on the show every once in a while. Says, when you go and watch Summer League, you got to evaluate with your eyes because we have so many stats and we get bogged down in so much. Evaluate with your eyes. What do you see? And as kind of simplistic as it sounds, as you watch Clingan during Summer League, you go, that guy looks like an NBA player.
Yeah.
And as crazy as that sounds, we've all seen guys that come in and are first round picks and they go into the Summer League. You're like, that guy doesn't look like an NBA player yet.
Yeah, and I think what's even more obviously, he's young. He's coming into his first season, and I do think when it comes to pace, there is a level up from the college game to especially like the NBA G League game, and of course the NBA game. And so what impressed me more is obviously Clingan has so much room to improve, and there were moments where that pace got to him a little bit out there. You know what I mean? And you could tell that he was getting a little gas, but I think that's good for him to know and understand, there's a different level of shape that I have to be in to be able to sustain at this level because the pace is just that much faster. This game is a lot more up and down. But for him to be able to still produce at the level that he did while also, at a lot of moments having to play a little bit tired, having to play a little bit gassed, I think, that was a good sign for me to see that he was still able to produce at a high rate. And like you say, look like an NBA player while also being able to quickly learn, areas that he can improve. And that'll just continue to happen with more reps, more experience, things of the like. But just seeing that he was able to produce the way he was, and he had to kind of get in and out sometimes because that pace would sort of get to him a little bit. Once he just continues to get in a lot more shape and learns how to really flow with the pace of the NBA beyond just him having his own ability and intangibles that will work in the NBA, I think there's a bright future for him.
Here's the other thing, because there's small picture and then there's big picture, and I've continued on this. You are old enough to remember Shaq. And when Shaq was not old Shaq, but Shaq in his prime.
Yeah.
And I remember it took about 2 to 3 years of people in the NBA watching Shaq, and every GM around the league goes, that guy's a problem.
Yeah.
We have to have some kind of answer for that. And you saw essentially mediocre at best big man getting drafted and getting paid because you have to have somebody to guard Shaq. You just have to.
For sure.
Even if they're not all that great, you got to have. And you saw a run of players in the league who were just like, we got to have somebody to defend Shaq. I think Wembanyama's the next one of those guys. Not saying he's the best player in the league. What I'm saying is if you don't have somebody 7 foot plus that can at least somewhat be in the way, you're going to be in trouble. And I think when you look, 7'4", athletic freak alien out there, you got to get 7'3" and some change in Klingon. I'm not saying he's going to be able to guard him out on the perimeter, but you have something. You have to have.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, he clogs up the paint, flat out. And you need that, like you said, with a guy like a Wemby, you know what I mean? And we'll see who else is to come down the pike. But with Klingon in particular, you can at least have a guy out there that is going to force you, or even somebody like a Wemby in particular, to have to beat you from the perimeter. And I would prefer that, regardless of if he can shoot it or not, how skilled he is for his size, all the things that we hear that are great about Wemby and true in a lot of cases. You still don't want him to just be able to just go down underneath the basket and just be a lob threat. Of course, have a much smaller guy guarding him in the post and be able to just get easy baskets, because that usually opens up the rest of the floor. Force him to beat you from out there, set up a defensive scheme that still allows him to have somebody that's kind of in his jersey while he's on the perimeter. But while he's in that painted area, you got to have somebody that can really defend him and challenge him possession after possession.
Yeah, because if you're going 6'10", you're losing.
Yeah.
You're losing. I don't care how big you are, you are losing. All right, coming up next, we're going to talk Team USA. Couple of close calls. We have got Paris Olympics on the way. But we got to talk about Team USA. What I see the direction of this team and where it is headed, and is it the right way heading into the Olympics? That's going to be next with our good friend Devon Pouncey here on 620 Rip City Radio. We are more than halfway through the summer. Summer leads to fall. Fall leads to school. And it is important for students to have the tools that they need for a successful school year. And to that end, we have partnered with our friends at Lazy Boy for the annual Stuff the Bus School Supply Drive. Now through August 19th, donate a backpack or 10 miscellaneous school supply items at any of the 6 local Lazy Boy locations. That includes Salem and Eugene, and you can receive up to 25% off your Lazy Boy purchase. Some exclusions do apply. The Salvation Army will then distribute your donations to local families in need, and as always, we thank you for your generosity. More details on the community page at RipCityRadio.com. Devon Pouncey joining us live in studio for the third hour. All right, we got to talk about Team USA.
Let's do it.
Because I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, I said I'm nervous. I've been nervous about Team USA. The way the roster is constructed, it's incredibly talented. It has got as much, if not maybe more, name recognition than any team other than the Dream Team.
Yeah.
Right. Like we've never. And then Kawhi Leonard dropped out. Kevin Durant got hurt. And there's been a couple of close calls, Pounce.
Yes, there has.
1-point win against South Sudan. 4-point win against Germany yesterday. I know it's pre-Olympic stuff, and I know there's always an ironing out process. It's one of the things that I think Team USA is going to struggle with always is you play these European teams, they got the same guys almost year in and year out.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, sure, like Wemby's on Team France now, but like
right.
Nicholas Batum's, I think, at his 4th Olympics.
Yeah.
For France, right? We saw for years Spain had the Gasol brothers for like 3 or 4 Olympics. So it's one of the things that Team USA is always going to have to deal with. And as I mentioned this earlier in the show, you go back to 92, right? That was Michael Jordan's dream team.
Yes.
Now, he was the focal point, and it's easy to go, that guy's the focal point. But in 92, Magic Johnson was arguably as big, if not even maybe a bigger star in 92, as crazy as it sounds. Jordan would then explode to superstar status.
For sure.
We talk about the Redeem team all the time. That was Kobe's team.
Yeah.
Kobe was the focal point. This shapes up to be looking like the LeBron team.
Yes, it does.
And again, I don't blame him because I've never had that kind of power, but it feels like kind of an orchestrated effort that LeBron James looked and is like, this is my 3rd Olympic team. The first one, we lost.
Yeah.
Nobody likes that one. The second one, Kobe was the guy. It's my turn.
Yeah.
And I wonder if even though he did hit a game winner against South Sudan, and what did he put up, like 20?
Playing well.
20. Is having a 39-year-old LeBron James the focal point of Team USA the best way to get Team USA to the gold medal?
I say yes.
All right.
And the reason why I say
I don't
yes,
necessarily disagree with you, which might surprise you about LeBron.
Yeah. I say yes. And the reason why that I say yes in particular is because of just the uniqueness of LeBron's sort of stature and the type of player he is, where the game has evolved in such a way where what you see, from opposing teams, obviously the way in which they may fear or revere Team USA is totally different now. Like back in the days, you know what I mean, playing against Team USA was just counted as an automatic L, where now teams are playing up to play against Team USA because it's we're at a point in time just in the evolution of basketball where there's so many guys, international guys that are playing in the NBA, and there's so many, countries that are continuously getting better at the sport of basketball that they feel like we can be the team that can pick Team USA off now. It's no longer just count that on an L on the schedule. And I think with LeBron in particular, he still can adapt to modern day basketball, but the way in which he plays, the power in which he plays with, the physicality, obviously, the strength, the athleticism outside of more so what you would call, his skill set, I think is something that he's showing is still kind of lacking elsewhere. And not because they aren't getting better or improving in that regard athletically and all the things, but because LeBron's just a one of one when it comes to that. And the type of player that he is, the type of stature that he has, It's something that the NBA has never seen, and it's something that he's able to kind of put on display against the rest of the world as to why he is LeBron James.
Yeah.
Where I think everybody else is more so in tune with what today's game kind of looks like, feels like, and how it's played, and it has a lot more international influence now, which makes it to where teams know how to run and gun, and teams know how to play that USA style of basketball, if you will, now, because everything's kind of just come together in that regard. But LeBron is still 39 years old. He comes from an era where he knows how to dominate in a different kind of a way, and he's actually able to put that on display now for Team USA with just, his size, his athletic ability, his power, and he's putting it on display, and it's given fits to opposing teams so far, at least in showcase play. We'll see when they have to play against Team France, who's got a lot of size over there, and that may not matter as much.
So here's the other thing, though, you even go back to the Dream Team.
Yeah.
They got their scare from that select team.
Yes.
That infamous, famous scrimmage that happened, even though they were keeping score and it was a real game.
Yeah.
And the select team beat them. And it was a team that had Grant Hill and Chris Webber. Now, they were in college. Turned out to be pretty good pros.
Yeah, they did.
But they got their scare from that select team. You go back to 2000, the Olympics in Sydney. They had to beat Lithuania in the semifinals by 2.
Yeah.
Like they got their scare from Lithuania. You go back to 08. 08, the whole point, they called it the Redeem Team.
Yeah.
The scare was the 04 Olympics.
Right.
Right. So this is kind of a rite of passage of Team USA, which is essentially you put these teams together, they get a scare from somebody, right? And then once that scare happens, can you bounce back? Lost to France last time in pool play. That was the scare in Tokyo. And so I'm hoping that these back-to-back games against South Sudan and Germany, while they have, don't sleep on Wenyan Gabriel.
Yeah.
But and the Wagner brothers of Team Germany, but it is
those Wagner boys can hoop.
They can.
That's about it, but they can hoop, man. They can put it in the bucket.
Who else is on? There was Schumpert. Schumpert's on Team Germany, too.
Really?
Schumpert.
I didn't think that's an interesting one.
So I think this is something which is because of the nature of the Olympics. We play, 4 years go by, we kind of forget. But, every Team USA has had, for the most part, their scare from somewhere.
For sure.
And hopefully this one is it for this Team USA.
Yeah, definitely. And again, I think in LeBron's case in particular, just being athletically superior and leaning into that is what's given the Team USA advantage in years past. And again, I think this year with the way the game is played, it's kind of more of an outside-in style of basketball rather than inside out. And I think LeBron is old enough and wise enough to understand, I got to get downhill. I got to get into the paint where I know they can't stop me, and it can open up the rest of the offense for us. Because if we just try to make it a game where again, it's a shootout essentially, and we're just getting up and down and shooting a bunch of threes, we don't have as much of an advantage in that regard as we do if I just put my head down, go downhill, and dare somebody to try to stop me while doing so. That's the way that Team USA has won in years past. Obviously, we've been better in other areas as well, but being athletically just more superior than our opposition has certainly benefited us and been in our favor in that style of play. And I think LeBron understands that more than anybody, and he's taking advantage of that and putting it on display, and he's wreaking havoc.
Here's why I don't disagree with the LeBron James being the focal point of this team and having it be successful. Couple of things. One, just the amount of games, it's smaller.
Yeah.
Right. It's not, and you're not playing back-to-backs in the Olympics. You play, you wait 3 days. That's perfect for LeBron.
Yes, it is.
And the other, you're playing about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
LeBron James, still at 39, as much as he annoys me, at 39, when LeBron James turns it on, there are not many people better than him in the world.
For sure.
Right? Now, he can't do that every night, and, Father Time is undefeated, but for 20 minutes, every 3 or 4 nights, he can crank it up and be, if that's the role he wants to take on, I think we're going to be okay. It's the rest of the team. One, are they good with that role?
Yeah.
Is the rest, 92 Dream Team, it took about 2 or 3 scrimmages to figure out, all right, this is Michael Jordan's team.
Yeah.
We got a lot of alphas on this team. There's the ultimate alpha.
For sure.
Krzyzewski, to his credit, in 08, pretty much, and Kobe set the tone too.
Yeah, he did.
Because what was it? Kobe walked in and was like, he didn't talk to anybody.
Yeah, he was
like, he's sitting in the meeting. Like, they're coming back. Because they were doing the same thing, getting ready in Vegas.
Yep.
And you were just in Vegas.
For sure.
A lot of options of things to do at about 3 in the morning in Vegas.
100%.
And all of a sudden, Carmelo and LeBron and the boys come back at about 5, and they run into Kobe in the lobby of the hotel in Vegas.
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, I'm going to work
On
out."
his way to work out, for sure.
And then the rest of the team, just by his sheer will. I don't know if the rest of this team is there yet. I hope so. But is the rest of this team? Because this is the kind of little things they talk about, right? Why did Jaylen Brown not get put on the team instead of Derek White when Kawhi Leonard left?
Which is
they
crazy.
said it's little things, though. But
Agreed.
that's great.
It's kind of crazy work.
It
but-
is kind of crazy.
I love Derek White, Colorado guy, Pac-12 guy. Jaylen Brown is a megastar.
Yeah, I mean, that's a little bit of crazy work, but
All right.
we here now.
Can we do conspiracy theory real quick?
Let's do it. I'm game.
Look, I just gave LeBron credit.
Yeah,
I
You
just
did.
did. All right. Do I have that on the record?
Yes.
I
It
just
is
gave
Yes, you
LeBron
did.
James credit.
That's a fact.
Now, LeBron James has had an interesting month. He hired Gigi Redick. He got his kid drafted, not on a 2-way deal. His kid's got more guaranteed money than any second-round pick ever in the
Yeah.
history of
Hey,
the
Dad's
NBA.
looking out for him.
And now he is, surprise, surprise, in close games, he's taken the final shot
For
of
sure.
Team USA when we thought Anthony Edwards was going to be that guy. He is a leading scorer. He's got a lot of power and influence.
Yes, he does.
Did LeBron not want Jaylen Brown on the team? Hot take. I'm just saying.
Could be some legs.
I don't know if it's that. In
Michael Jordan didn't want
particular.
Isaiah Thomas.
I don't know if it's that in particular. I do think that it has more to do with Jaylen Brown's willingness to challenge anything regarding the USA, maybe in a different way than most NBA athletes are willing to.
Yeah.
Of course, obviously, he kind of stood in solidarity with Kyrie Irving, who also isn't on the team, who, if you ask me, I pick him over Derek White, too. Just calling it like I see it, you know.
Kyrie dominated this year.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, went to the finals, played really well this season. I think, behavior-wise, I would say he matured in a lot of ways. Like, I really enjoyed everything about Kyrie Irving this season, and he's not on the team either. And so I think, there's just a particular element where, Jaylen Brown kind of stood in solidarity with Kyrie Irving during the time when Kyrie Irving had gotten dropped from Nike. And, I just think that's a little bit of a different conversation that you have around Jaylen Brown and Jaylen Brown, I think, is one of those players that will go out there and challenge everything about the Olympics and what it stands for as well, because there's also a lot sociopolitically that takes place that the Olympic Games are the center of, obviously, within the confines of competition, but also in regards to the community, the host community. In this case, it would be Paris, France, and some of the things that the surrounding community has to deal with as the host of the Olympic Games.
It is kind of crazy. The NBA Finals MVP.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Who was an alternate? He was on the list.
Yeah, it's a little wild. It's a little wild.
Like the
and then
highest
they
paid
picked
player?
his teammate. That's the thing. I can see if they picked.
Yeah, and Derek
Say
White.
Paul George. I'm just throwing a name
Yeah.
out there. Somebody from an entirely different team, but it's like you pick Derek White up, who we all know is not better than Jaylen Brown, just from the sheer fact that we know the pecking order of that NBA team, and Derek White is not above Jaylen Brown in no sense of the equation.
We'll see ultimately what it turns out. I don't mind them picking up Derek White, and here's why. Because they've got star power. They've got plenty of guys that can put the ball in the hoop. They've got plenty of guys that can tilt the room.
Yeah.
They do need a guy, and maybe Jaylen Brown is that guy. I don't know. But they did need a guy who is going to perimeter defend. They need a guy who is going to
Jaylen Brown
distribute.
can do it all. It's not too much Jaylen Brown can't do. The Finals MVP, the Eastern Conference Finals MVP.
I'm just saying, check LeBron's text messages.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I do think that there might have been some other things at play there.
I do think the one thing, and so going back to kind of these last two games, I don't know what Steve Kerr was doing. I don't know if he was if they're still working on stuff, right? I don't know if they're still trying to iron some things out. They might be because, again, Kawhi Leonard dropped out.
Yeah.
KD has been injured. And they're
Yes.
not going to replace KD. They said they're not going to replace him. Those are two pretty big pieces.
For sure.
That you are kind of replaced, or you had to replace Kawhi Leonard. And we don't know when Durant's going to come back.
Yeah, and like I said, speaking to LeBron James and sort of his athletic prowess, I think Kevin Durant is somebody who would put that on display in his own right just by, his size, his ability to shoot over guys. Like you would lean into what you can be dominant at in these games and not lean into, let's play a certain style of basketball. Like, no, we're here to win, and we're here to win as efficiently as possible, at this stage. And so somebody with a lot of Olympic experience and knows what's been favorable for Team USA in years past and knows how to play that style of basketball amongst, this platform that's different than the NBA platform where you might do things a little bit differently and play a little bit differently. So I think having Kevin Durant back, if he is going to come back, I've been hearing that he'll come back, but still got to see it to believe it. He will make a significant difference, I think, for Team USA just because he knows how to win in that environment off of just sheer experience. And I think that's part of the reason even Anthony Davis has been playing pretty well, maybe in comparison to somebody like a Joel Embiid. He's just got a lot more experience, playing that Team USA style of basketball where Embiid doesn't.
You definitely will know more than I would, but from what I have heard is that on the international stage and the way that game is played, like Anthony Davis should be our best player.
Yeah.
Team USA. I can say our and we when it's Team USA.
For sure.
He should be Team USA's best player. I think he probably will be. Even though, 08, Kobe was the focal point. He wasn't the leading scorer.
Right.
They had plenty of guys that can score, but I think if Anthony Davis, we talk about when LeBron cranks it up, there's not many people that can stop him going downhill. When Anthony Davis is healthy and playing and motivated, there's nobody that's going to be able to stop that guy from getting a bucket in the Olympics.
For sure.
Whatever he wants.
For sure. Steve Kerr's just got to start him.
Yeah.
That's part of it is he's coming off the bench and, again, respectfully.
But I do think that second unit for Team USA is what's going to win them the gold medal.
I agree that it'll help them win the gold medal, but also, like I said, when you look at somebody like a Joel Embiid and you look at an Anthony Davis and what they've been doing in the NBA, I think right now, today, you would say from a production standpoint, Embiid has been better outside of, when he's injured, but he's been an MVP more recently. He's always kind of in that final race to win the MVP. And I think translating that over into Team USA basketball, I do think Anthony Davis is more equipped to be a better player for Team USA in particular. So you got to kind of figure out how to decipher the difference between the fact that you have all NBA players that are playing on Team USA, but again, the NBA platform is not where these guys are playing at right now. You got to kind of mix things up and see what is more favorable to us in international competition and not NBA competition. And I think Anthony Davis is the more favorable big to help you win in international competition more so than Joel Embiid.
We got a minute with the Olympics coming up. I know you've done a bunch of stuff on the Olympics.
Yeah.
With one of your professors there in college.
Dr. Jules Boykoff.
Is basketball our biggest point of pride? I'm thinking about this morning. If we don't win the gold medal in basketball in the Olympics, America, I'm talking we.
Yeah.
That's pretty disappointing. Any other thing, I'm like, that's a bummer. But
I think our biggest point of pride should be Simone Biles.
Yeah, Simone Biles.
That's what should be our biggest point of pride.
Can't get the twisties this year.
Yeah, can't get the twisties this year. You know what I'm saying? But I think it should be Simone Biles. If you're just talking about our best athlete that'll be playing in the Olympics coming from the United States, it's undoubtedly Simone Biles to me. So that should be our pride and joy as a country, but we know how that goes. It should be, and I think it will as well.
Gymnastics, swimming, it's track.
Exactly. So I
will put away for country's sake the fact that that Noah Lyles guy really bugs me.
Yeah.
He's really fast, though.
Yeah, he is. He's fast.
He's going to probably win the gold medal in the 100.
Yeah,
but
they ain't world
the
champions.
world champion guy. Remember the Noah Lyles guy, Brenden, the world champion?
They ain't world champions if they don't win on the international stage.
I'm going to root for him, though, in Paris. Team USA. All right, we have got the, what have we got? RCA Mailbag, Ebony and Ivory version coming up next, 620 Rip City Radio. All right, let's wrap up the big show. Get you ready to attack your Tuesday. We do that the same way each and every day with the RCM mailbag, except on Tuesdays when Pounce is in the studio. We put a little twist on it, a fun throwback to our days on the Justin and Devon show, which is questions that we have for one another based upon our culture, based upon the way we grew up. It is coming from a place of curiosity, not a place of judgment, which is why we were able to do it. And hopefully, maybe we'll throw some questions out there that other people have that maybe aren't all that comfortable to ask. We call it Ebony and Ivory. Here we go. All right. So I was in Hawaii last week,
right?
On a family trip. Kelly and I took a boat cruise upon the Nepali coastline of Kauai.
Okay.
Now, Pounce, there was 50 some people on this boat. We get out into the ocean, and boom, we run into dolphins.
Okay.
Now, let me tell you something.
You talk to me.
White people love dolphins. White people love dolphins because I have never seen. We're in the ocean. It's where the dolphins live.
Yeah.
And I've seen whales on a ferry up in Washington. I've seen whales out on the Oregon coast, but all of a sudden Captain Lynn comes on. She's like, if you look off to the right side of the boat, there's a school of spinner dolphin. Everybody, cameras out.
Yeah.
And just how do black people feel about dolphins?
I don't think it's
they do them and you do you.
Yeah.
Because
I don't know that
because white people love dolphins.
Cup of tea. I think in that kind of a setting, though, we would, if we're on a boat cruise in Hawaii, and we saw everybody else taking their phones out to record, we'd probably do the same just because we're already a little bit of an outcast and we need to do everything we can to blend in to the current circumstances we're in right now. But aside from that, I don't know that dolphins are a huge part of our culture.
I've never I shouldn't say I've never seen people react.
We like fried fish and
fried. I'm with you there.
Fried catfish, snapper. That's a little more of our speed.
Dude, that's some good stuff.
It is.
But, yeah,
it is.
And it's funny because of all the stuff that so here's and you know this because you follow me on Instagram.
Yeah.
Kelly posts stuff on Instagram and then I just repost it.
Yeah, for sure. Yes, that's
kind of like I think that's husband Instagram. It's just like she puts it up there and I.
That's a fact.
Add that also to my story. I was also there.
Yeah.
So the reaction of people who are like, "Hey, how was Hawaii, dude? The dolphins The dolphins got the biggest reaction.
I could imagine.
So I was thinking, I was like. Yeah, white people just love dolphins.
Yeah, I don't know that. I mean, I don't know that dolphins would have us going crazy like that. But like I said, if we're in that environment, we're not going to be the ones to be like, ooh, the dolphins. We're going to take our phone out and record the dolphins too, and maybe show our people something they're not used to seeing as much.
Now I'm not a take my phone out guy. I'm on first off, I'm afraid I'm going to drop it. The amount of people that are just fast and loose with the phone.
Yeah.
And I talked to one of the crew members on the boat. I go, how many phones do you see gone? She's like, you don't even know.
Dang.
The amount of phones. Because wind picks up, catch rough seas.
That's right, yeah.
But just phones out. So I'm always afraid of that. Plus I'm just like, I'm seeing these dolphins in the wild. Is anybody really going to... It's like people who filmed the fireworks on 4th of July.
Right.
We all saw it.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but I just thought about, a lot of people were reacting to the dolphins.
That's interesting.
It was kind of cool.
Because I don't think I reacted to the dolphins. I watched your stories, and I probably didn't even notice the dolphins. I do watch your stories, but I don't recall the dolphins.
Yeah,
maybe this didn't pique my interest as much.
You had to really focus in on it too. Oh, hey, Justin's on a boat. Got it.
Right. For sure. My question for you is, as a true native Oregonian yourself, the both of you actually, I've never been to Bend, Oregon.
Oh, yeah.
And this weekend, I'll be going for the first time. As you know, I DJ, and I was booked to DJ a wedding in Bend, Oregon, and I'm staying at a beautiful resort out there, a cabin resort. And I'm staying like from Friday to Sunday. I need Bend recommendations because I'm a city boy, and I've spent plenty of time in Portland. Go to the coast from time to time, but I haven't really explored Oregon as much as I should, and I know one of the popular exploration places is Bend. I need Rex, y'all. I've never been there before.
Bend is a place we go to all the time.
Okay.
Do not be surprised if come retirement time, your boy ends up living in Bend.
Nice. Okay. I've heard. Okay.
Kelly's already Zillowing. Right?
Yeah. Right.
I'm like, are you Zillowing Bend?
Yeah.
I'm just looking. So don't be surprised. All right, so the Deschutes River is really cool. There's a place called the Old Mill, and it's kind of an outdoor shopping center, and there's restaurants and stuff, but it's right on the river. And so you can kind of get, I'm not sending you out into nature, but you can kind of get a sense of the river, the mountains, and everything else. So the Old Mill is really cool.
Okay.
So I would recommend that. I'm a big fan of Deschutes Brewery. But I know you're a tequila guy.
Yeah. I heard there's a River Pig out there.
I've been to the River Pig out there.
Really?
Oh, yeah. River Pig's good out there.
Okay. I DJ at the one here in Portland from time to time.
Yeah, so and the River Pig also right by Bloodsoe Winery.
Okay, I can do that.
The Bloodsoe Winery, highly recommend.
I might not leave my resort, though.
Well, you know what you do?
Brasada Ranch. Have you heard of Brasada?
I've heard of it. Not been there.
Okay.
It's on the list. But if you're at a beautiful, you just get out and you just look at the mountains and just kind of, and you're just like, I can't believe this exists.
It's that beautiful.
Yeah, it's a great place.
Okay.
And just so if you
I've heard that. I've had a college basketball teammate from Bend who used to tell me, back when we were teammates, you got to go to Bend, Pounce. I think you'd love it in Bend. And it just never happened. But I'm booked there now, so I'll be there.
So if you get a chance to go in, if you're into town, in and around the Old Mill, it's fairly close as where River Pig is. There's great restaurants, great wine, all that stuff.
Because I took Friday off of work so I can get out there earlier in the day and explore before I hit the resort.
And if not, just go to the ranch, get outside.
Yeah.
Get your coffee with way too much sugar in it that you drink.
And just look around.
And just look at the mountains.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's just nuts that you're there.
And it's a lot of great amenities there. I've looked it up. So I'm excited to enjoy the amenities, but also I do want to get around the town a little bit.
I look forward to hearing back
for sure
from that. And that's going to do it for the big show. Thanks to Pounce for joining us. Thanks to super producer Brendan. Thanks to all of you. Have a terrific Tuesday, everybody. We're back tomorrow morning, bright and early here on 620 Rip City Radio.